What if you do require skilled nursing? Well, our government doesn't step in to help until you are poor. Well, you can retain some of your life savings by setting it aside in an irrevocable trust so that those assets aren't even considered. Hi, my friends. This is Colin Richards, and I'm president of Lord & Richards. And once again, I'm excited to be with you in this segment of the Lord & Richards Show. And we're in an extended conversation around what we call at Lord & Richards financial life planning. Not death planning, not estate planning, but life planning. Now, your estate is everything that you own. But it's important that we begin thinking about that as a living estate, not just a dying estate. For this reason, I think we can stave off that tendency that so many have of delaying and kicking the can of planning down the road. The good news, while there's tons of work, is that Lord & Richards is more than happy to do that work. And we don't charge our clients for the financial planning that we do every single day. We feel that you deserve this from those who are going to help you manage your money, your assets, your financial future. And so that process at Lord & Richards is called Financial or Retirement Freedom Review. And when we go through that, we'll sit down and find out what's really, really important to you. And as part of that, a part of it is making sure that what you own doesn't wind up in the hands of those you don't want it to, whether that's the government or whether that's a nursing home or a healthcare facility, or whether it's just people that the state can step in and decide, or others can challenge your wishes. So one of the key documents we've been discussing is called a trust. There are two kinds of trusts: a revocable or changeable or dissolvable trust, which is really a planning and an organizational tool that says to your heirs, hey, I love you enough to get this done in advance so you don't spend a year, 2 years trying to go through all my stuff. The other is a much different document. It's called an irrevocable trust. That document is something I don't normally see people walking in my door, but there are many people for whom I have put together with an attorney, an irrevocable trust. What is different about an irrevocable? Well, just like the name sounds, it is a document that causes you to lose ownership of the asset that you place in that. And by simply titling that asset in an irrevocable trust, you cannot change your mind about that. You say, why would I ever do that? Well, first of all, this is a document that's alive today, right? It has consequences today. Your revocable trust simply organizes things on death. But your irrevocable trust gives you some benefits that are worth considering. Not everybody needs this, but you need to know about this so you don't get confused. The benefits are things like protection from your creditors, right? So these are assets that you don't personally own. So if you have a business and it's struggling or whatever, or you have to close it, these assets aren't on the table. It avoids drawing down assets that are in this kind of trust for things like not Medicare, but rather things not paid by Medicare or even Medicaid, like long-term care. What if you do require skilled nursing? Well, our government doesn't step in to help until you are poor. Well, you can retain some of your life savings by setting it aside in an irrevocable trust so that those assets aren't even considered. It avoids things like death taxes or estate taxes on very high net worth individuals, and those can be onerous, seizing up to half of your entire net worth. And this is a great place, of course, to place life insurance, because you think about it, life insurance is already tax-free. And so if you place life insurance there, you don't have to worry about one of the other negatives, which is the high tax rates for anything that generates income inside of an irrevocable trust. So a life insurance policy can do things tax-free. We want to generally place tax-free assets in an irrevocable trust. So this is a great way to pass on large amounts of money to the next generation without worrying about taxes of any kind. Now, why would I do this? Protection from creditors, avoiding giving all your money to places like nursing homes, avoiding the onerous death taxes, the estate taxes that hit the high net worth. Now, as I said, the negative is you can't go in there and change your mind, right? You will have a trustee, however, who has great power over this asset. So this needs to be somebody that you implicitly trust, and it can be your spouse. You, as the person with the assets, are the grantor to the trust, but your spouse could be the trustee or another trusted individual. You can still benefit, though. So let's say you've decided for a high net worth planning reason or another reason such as avoiding giving your money to nursing homes, you've opened up accounts inside of an irrevocable trust. Well, you can still gain access to money as the person who put funds in there for your own health, your own education, your own maintenance, your support. We call them HEMS, HEMS, so you can kind of remember that. Health, meaning, payments could be made out of that asset so that you can benefit from the asset that's inside of there. It just has to be structured properly. Health, education, maintenance, and support. Now, if these are funds that you're not going to need for yourself, even better. If it's part of a family legacy, even better, right? It's one of the ways that high net worth individuals can transfer money from one generation to the next without the government, nursing home, and healthcare facilities taking it all. So, two kinds of trusts. Revocable, you can change your mind. It doesn't really provide any protection against creditors. It doesn't help you to dodge any taxes, but it is a great organizational tool that many of us should have in place because we love those who we're going to leave behind, and we don't want to put an onerous burden. And we don't want to stretch out the distribution of those assets 12 to 18 months like they will if they're in a will, and we don't want to have people able to contest them. So we've identified and targeted a number of key ways that you can prepare for the end of life and the distribution of your assets. But we also want to prepare for the things, the financial challenges that are going to face you while you're still living, while you're healthy, while you're strong. And so in our next segment, we're going to dive a little bit into the other side of the coin of financial life planning, and that is, how do I deal with the marauders, the invaders, the barbarians at the gate of my estate while I'm living? How do I avoid being robbed by the government, healthcare institutions, nursing homes, and so forth? Well, we're going to get into that in our very next segment, so you're going to want to tune in and stay tuned. But in the meantime, I want to remind you that one of the most powerful steps that you can ever take is to sit down with a kind, caring, ethical, biblically minded investment advisor like the ones you'll find here at Lord & Richards. And we would love to take you through a free complimentary process called a retirement freedom review. And in that review, you're going to discover your readiness for retirement, for financial independence, all the things we're talking about today, like preparing for end of life, as well as shielding yourself from the marauders during your lifetime. The things I'm sharing with you are just the tip of the iceberg. And the good news is, although it can be an overwhelming list of jobs to get done, we love to do that. We geek out about it. And it would simply be wonderful to sit down with you and have a complimentary visit to find out how you can obtain and maintain financial freedom. It simply starts with a phone call.